whenever she passed. Smooth, dark skin, bright eyes, and a smile that could make any man's heart race. But there was one thing about Flora that people also knew. She loved money. She had tasted poverty, and she hated it with all her heart. She had promised herself that one day she would leave it far behind and live like a queen. That chance came when she met Chief Richard. Chief Richard was a wealthy CEO in Lagos. He HD, was in his late 60s, with gray hair, a wrinkled face, and a pot belly that showed he never lacked food. He was always in designer suits, driving expensive cars, and walking with bodyguards. People whispered about him everywhere. They said he had a dark secret. They said he only dated young girls, showered them with wealth. But after 6 months, the girls would either die mysteriously, fall very sick, or get involved in strange accidents. Nobody could prove it, but the pattern was too clear. When Flora's friends heard she was seeing him, dating him, and just like that, one day she collapsed and never woke up. But Flora only laughed. "Amara, don't be jealous. God forbid. Nothing's to live big. I can't waste it." And so she went on. For the first 3 months, Flora's life was like a dream. Chief Richard bought her a brand new car. He rented a luxury apartment for her in Lekki. He gave her money to start her own boutique. Every morning, she woke up to alerts on her phone. He paid her bills, flew her to Dubai, and made her taste the life she had always wanted. Flora felt unstoppable. She looked at her old friends who warned her, and she laughed at them. "See me now. You people are still struggling with Uber and Okada, but I have a driver. I told you, nothing will happen to me." But then the 4th month came. It began with small things. Flows. She looked again. Her reflection smiled, but she was not smiling. Flora screamed. Flora was in her apartment, lying on the bed, when she heard footsteps. Slow, heavy footsteps in the sitting room. She thought it was her maid, but then she remembered she had sent her home for the weekend. She sat up, her heart racing. "Who is there?" she called out. No answer. The footsteps came closer, moving toward her bedroom. Flora jumped up, grabbed her phone, and turned on the flashlight. She pointed it at the door. The handle turned slowly. Flora screamed, but when the door opened, there was no one, only darkness. She locked the door again and cried herself to sleep. By morning, she found strange marks on her arm, as if someone had drawn symbols while she slept. She rushed to Chief Richard's mansion to show him. But instead of looking shocked, the old man only smiled, and the clock seemed to walk slowly, one small step at a time. And the clock seemed to walk slowly, one small step at a time. That morning she stood in her bathroom and looked at the strange marks on her arm. They were thin lines that curved like a hook. When she touched them, they felt cold. She washed them with warm water and soap. The marks did not go. She rubbed shea butter on them. The marks did not go. She sat on the edge of the bathtub and began to cry in a small voice. Then she told herself to stop. She took a deep breath and wiped her face. She picked up her phone and called Amara. Amara answered at once. Her voice was bright but firm. She was the kind of friend who tells the truth, even when it is hard to hear. "Flora, where are you? I am at." When Flora showed her the marks, Amara stared for a long time. Then she touched them gently and said one simple thing. "We need help." "From who?" "From someone who understands these things. I have seen a doctor, not that kind. I mean someone who prays and someone who knows when something is wrong that no hospital can see." She folded her arms and shook her head. "I am not a child. I do not believe everything." Amara did not argue. She only spoke softly. She only spoke softly. "Remember Cynthia. Remember the other girls. Their stories look the same. It starts with gifts, then fear. It starts with gifts, then fear, then strange sickness that has no name. Please listen to me now. I am your friend." Flora looked at her friend, her chest. She nodded. Okay, what shall we do? Come with me this evening. There is a woman my mother knows. People call her Mama Ruth. She prays for people. She is kind, not harsh. She will not ask you for your money. She only talks and prays. She lives in Yaba, in a small house near the market. Flora agreed. Before evening, Chief Richard called. His voice was smooth like always. His voice was smooth like always. My dear, how are you? I am not fine, she said. I am having bad dreams. I am hearing footsteps in my house. I am seeing marks on my arm. I am scared. He made a soft sound on the phone. Do not scare yourself. I told you already. You are tired. You work too hard. You need rest. I have a surprise for you. Pack a small bag. I will send the driver to bring you to my country home in Ipe. It is quiet there. You will sleep well. We will sit by the water in the evening. You will forget all your fear. Flora felt her mouth go dry. She looked at the marks again. She looked at Amara, who was watching her. She said, maybe not today. I will rest at home. His voice changed, but only a little. He did not shout. He did not beg. He spoke like a man who is used to getting what he wants. Flora, do not be stubborn. I care for you. Let me take care of you. The city is noisy. You need Epi. Not today, she repeated. Maybe tomorrow. He was quiet for a moment. Then he laughed in a slow way. All right, rest. I will send you something sweet. The call ended. Amara squeezed Flora's hand. I do not like the way he talks to you. He sounds like a teacher, not a lover. Flora shook her head. He has been good to me. Has he? Amara said. Or has he only been generous? There is a difference. Evening came. The sky turned orange, then pink, then blue. They took a taxi to Yaba and walked down a narrow street that smelled like fried plantain and soap. Children ran past them with plastic balls. Women sat on low stools, selling vegetables and small bottles of oil. A radio played a gospel song from a shop. They stopped at a pale blue gate. Amara knocked. A small old woman opened the gate. Her hair was white and tied back with a scarf. Her eyes were clear and bright. She smiled at Amara, then at Flora. Welcome. I am Mama Ruth. Come in. Her sitting room was simple and clean. There were wooden chairs, a small fan, and a calendar with a picture of a river. She gave them cold water and listened while Flora spoke. Flora did not hide anything. She told her about the dreams, the footsteps, the doctor with herbs, the fire, arm, and the way Chief wanted her to travel to Ipe today. Mama roothed her eyes for a moment and hummed a soft food or drink his drink. You must not wear food or drink his drink. You must not wear any gift he gave you on your body, any gift he gave you on your body when you sleep. You must not go to that house in Ipe. You must not let him touch you. You must pray. You must wash your arm before dawn with clean water and speak life over yourself for 7 days before the sun comes up. And you must return some gift. Sun comes up. And you must return some gifts. Return gifts. Which ones? The ones that carry a promise inside them. Expensive things can be used to pull a soul. The car. Expensive things can be used to pull a soul. The car, the key to the apartment, the small gold necklace with the red stone. Flora touched her neck. Her eyes widened. How did you know? Mama Ruth only smiled. I looked down at her hands. The car had made her feel free. The necklace had made her feel loved. How would she return all that? How would she live? She felt a heavy wave of shame wash over her. Maybe I brought this on myself because of greed. Mama Ruth leaned forward and shook her head. No. Do not blame yourself only. A trap is still a trap, even if the food on it looks sweet. But now that you can see the metal under the meat, you must not put your hand there again. Do you understand? Yes. Mama Ruth prayed in a soft voice. She asked God to give Flora courage and a clear mind. She asked for light in the night and a wall around her life. She spoke peace over the house. When she finished, I want you to do one more thing, not just me. Tell a person who can. Stand if you call. Evil asked me to check on you. Flora's throat felt tight. I am fine. Kunle's eyes moved to the bottle in her hand, then to Amara's face, then back to Flora. He said nothing more. He only said, "Call me if you need help." Then he wrote a number on a small paper and gave it to her with a careful hand. As the SUV drove away, Amara whispered, "Do you trust him?" "I do not know," Flora said. "But his eyes look like he is tired of many things." Back at Amara's apartment in Surulere, they made tea and sat on the floor. Flora held the bottle of water and watched the curtain move in the night. Breeze. Her phone buzzed. A message from Chief. "I will send you flowers." She put the phone face down and in Amara's small bed that night. She woke up before dawn, went to the bathroom and washed her arm with the water while praying in simple words. She asked God to keep her soul. She spoke life over herself. She did it again the next day and the next. On the third day, something strange happened. She was walking to the small market near Amara's house when she felt the road tilt. The sky went white and the sound of cars turned soft. She held onto a pole and blinked hard. A motorcycle sped past her and stopped suddenly. The rider jumped down and shouted at a bus that had almost hit a child who had run into the street. The child's mother screamed and pulled the child close. The bus driver shouted back. People gathered and spoke loudly. Flora felt a quiet voice in her chest. "Go home now." She turned and began to walk fast. She only knew she needed to leave. "Please." He ended the call. Flora looked at Amara. Her friend had heard enough to understand. "We are not driving that car and we'll use taxis. We will fix the car later with a mechanic we trust. We'll use taxis. We will fix the car later with a mechanic we trust." That evening, Flora called Chief. She spoke slowly. "I need a break. I need time to think. I am staying with a friend." Chief was quiet. Then he said, "You are ungrateful." "I am not ungrateful. I am scared. I have no reason to be in everything for you." "That is the problem," she said in a small voice. "You have done everything, and I do not know what you want in return." There was a short breath on the line. Then he laughed, but the laugh had no joy in it. "Rest, Flora. We will talk in 2 days. Do not do anything foolish." After the call, Amara locked the door and pulled the curtain. They sat together and prayed again. That night, Flora dreamed of a wide, dark river. She stood on the bank while a crowd watched in silence. On the other side of the water stood Chief Richard in a white cloth, holding a red bowl. He called her name with a smile, but his shadow stretched long behind him and moved like a snake. She woke up with a cry and saw the marks on her arm had turned faint purple. Morning came. They took the car faint purple. Morning came. They took the car to a quiet mechanic near a church in Shomolu. The man checked the car and came back with a worried face. "Madame, the brake line is cut. If you had driven fast and pressed the brake, it would fail." Flora swallowed hard. "Can you fix it?" "Yes, but you must keep this car in a safe place. Someone touched it." When they left the workshop, Flora looked up at the bright sky and said a simple thank you. She was grateful for Kunle's warning. She sent him a short message. "Thank you." He replied with 2 words. "Be careful." On the 5th day, Flora decided to pick up a few things from her Lakey apartment. She wanted her passport, some clothes, and a small box of pictures. I did not want her to go alone. They called a friend named David who had a big heart and a small car. He They drove them there in the afternoon. The security man at the gate greeted Flora and looked surprised to see her without her driver. She smiled and walked upstairs. Inside, the air felt too quiet. The paper had a sign on it that looked like the mark on her arm. Her heart started to beat too fast. She opened the next drawer. There was another small paper under. She checked the last drawer. There was a third one under her nightgown. She put them in a plastic bag without thinking. Her hands shook. Amara stood at the door and stared. "What is that?" "I do not know," Flora said. "But I think it is not good." They left the apartment with the bag, the passport, and the pictures. As they reached the car, Flora looked up and saw a camera on the wall pointing at her door. She had seen it before, but she had never felt it like a finger. She looked at David and said, "Drive." They went straight to Mama Ruth. The old woman opened the plastic bag and did not touch the papers. She only looked and nodded. "These are not toys. Throw them away and wash your hands." Then she gave them a small bowl of water to pour over their hands in the backyard. After that, she burned the papers in a metal pan behind the house while praying. The smoke rose and twisted, then disappeared into the air. "This is how control works," Mama Ruth said in that same soft voice. "Small things hidden in your house, small things tied to your body, small words spoken over you in the night. But control can be broken. Fire breaks it, water breaks it, truth breaks it, courage breaks it, and love breaks it." Flora let the words sink into her bones of anger in her chest, not the wild anger that shouts, a cool anger that makes a person stand up straight. "I will not be used. I will not be counted among those girls." "Good, Mama Ruth. The 6th month is the danger month. He will try to see you often. He will bring more gifts. He will talk sweet. He will ask you to travel. He will ask you to meet him near water or in a quiet room with low light. He may even pretend to be sick so that you will come. Do not go. If you must speak to him, stand in the sun where many eyes can see you, and do not be alone." Flora nodded. Again, "What about Kunle, the driver? He warned me. Can I trust him?" "You can thank him," Mama Ruth said. "But do not tell him your plans. A kind man can still be watched by a cruel master. Keep your plans small and quiet." That night, Flora and Amara sat on the floor again and talked about everything they would do next. Flora, she sealed the envelope and wrote one line on it. "Not mine." On the 7th morning, while the sky was still pale, Flora went to the sink with the last of the clean water and washed her arm. The marks looked lighter. She felt lighter too. She dried her skin and whispered, "I choose life." Her phone rang. It was a number she did not know. She answered. A thin voice spoke. "This is Dr. Tunde. Chief asked me to check on you." "This is Dr. Tunde. Chief asked me to check on you." He said you have been feeling weak. I have a new mixture that will help you sleep. I can bring it to your house." Flora closed her eyes. "Thank you. I am fine." The voice changed tone. It had a small, sharp edge. "Do not be stubborn. Health is not a game." I said, "No. Please do not call me again." She hung up and blocked the number. She put on jeans and a t-shirt. She and Amara went out to buy bread and eggs from the corner shop. They laughed for the first time in days. The air felt clean. When they returned, a box was waiting at the door. It was white with a red ribbon. There was a card on top. It had neat writing. "Rest and think of me." Amara frowned. "Do not open it," Flora agreed. They carried the box outside and placed it by the gate. Then they walked back and sat down. After a long minute, Amara went to the window and looked out. A cat had jumped on the box and was sniffing it. Another minute passed. A small boy from next door came to touch the ribbon. Amara called out to him, "Do not touch that box. Go home." He ran away. Flora picked up her phone and called Kunle. "There is a box at my door. Do not open it. he said at once. "I will come." He arrived in a plain shirt and jeans, not his driver. He carried the box carefully to the back of his car and placed it on the ground, a long stick, while standing a little far away. Inside were fresh red roses and a small velvet case. He opened the case with the stick. There was a chain with a bigger red stone. The stone looked like a drop of blood in the sun. Conley closed the case and put everything back in the box. He looked at Flora. "Madame, return it. Today. Do not keep it in your house." Flora nodded. "Thank you." He lifted the box and put it in his trunk. "I will tell him you said thank you. He will be angry, but it is better to make him angry now than to wait." Then he paused and added something very quiet. 6 months is always the same. Do not go near water. How do you know? His eyes moved to the side. "I have been around for a long time. I do not sleep well. I hear things. I have driven girls like you. Some prayed, some did not. The ones who prayed lived longer. The ones who left early lived." He drove away with the box. Flora watched the street until his car turned the corner. She felt the cool anger again in the small light from Mama Ruth's house. Bright lights and many people. Amara said, "This is public. You can go for 1 hour and leave. Do not drink anything. Do not eat anything. Do not leave the hall. Do not go to the back or the side rooms." Flora wore a simple blue dress and carried a small bag with only her phone and a little money. David drove them. They entered the bright hall. Music played. People laughed and shook hands. Cameras flashed. Chief stood near the stage in a white suit. When he saw Flora, he smiled like a father seeing a child. He walked to her with open hands. "My dear." Flora let him hug her lightly, then she stepped back. "Good evening. You look lovely." "Thank you." He looked at Amara and smiled without warmth. "You brought a friend." "Yes," Flora said. "I do not go out alone now." He nodded slowly. "Good. Fear is a small teacher. It can help a stubborn student learn." "I am not your student," she said in a quiet voice. He watched her for a moment. Then he turned to greet other guests. Flora said, "I am resting." He pulled back and looked straight into her eyes. "You are breaking my heart." She held his gaze. "I am saving my life." They left the hall. As they reached the door, a young woman touched Flora's hand. She had gentle eyes and a small scar near her eyebrow. She whispered one sentence in a shaky voice. "Check the inside of your shoes before you wear them." Into the crowd. The night tasted like salt. The sea was not far. Cars lined the street. David turned the car, and they drove in silence. Flora reached down and slipped off one heel. She turned it upside down. A tiny black thread was stuck under the sole near the heel. It was tied in a tight knot. She pulled it free with the tip of her key and threw it out of the window. She did the same with the other shoe. A tiny thread again. She dropped it too. Back at Amara's, Flora sat on the floor and laughed and cried at the same time. It sounded strange, but it felt right. She was tired, but she was alive. She did not know the name of the young woman who warned her, but she prayed for her. Days moved like small boats on a slow river. The 5th month began. The marks on Flora's arm faded more. She ate simple food. She walked in the sun. She read and rested. She called her aunt and listened to stories about when she was a baby. She did small jobs online to keep money in her pocket. She kept her phone on. Then one afternoon, Kunle called again. His voice was tight. "Madam, please listen. Oga is planning a trip. New moon in 4 weeks. He wants you at the country home by the water. He has told the cook, do not go near there. Even if he says he is sick, even if he sends, will cancel your rent. How do you know it is new moon? I heard him tell somebody on the phone. He said the night will be dark and the air will be easy." Those were his words. Flora's hand shook. "Thank you, Kunle." Thank you for telling me." He lowered his voice. "I will not be his driver for much longer. Pray for me. I want to leave. I will." When the call ended, Flora and Amara sat with a calendar and counted the days. 4 weeks to new moon. That would be the middle of her 6th month. So this was how the stories were made. A pretty girl, a rich man, a house by the water, a dark sky. People would say it was an accident. People would say she slipped. People would shake their heads and say what a pity. But the truth would be a quiet secret on the water. "Not this time," Flora said. "We will break his story." They went to Mama, Ruth again. The old woman listened and nodded. "Good. You will not go. But we will not only refuse. We will also shine light on this. Darkness hates light. If he is forced into the open, his power weakens. What should we do? Tell a few safe people the date and the place. People who will not tell him but who can act if needed. Do not put it online. Do not spread rumors. Share facts with brave hearts. A pastor who fears God. A neighbor who minds his business but helps when it matters. A small journalist who has nothing to lose. And one policewoman who still loves her badge more than money. They exist. You must find them." Amara smiled. "I know. A policewoman. Her name is Officer BC. She grew up on my street. She is strict but good." "Good," Mama Ruth said. "Talk to her. And you, Flora, make one last thing clear in your heart. You must be ready to let go of every gift he gave. It is hard, but it is clean. Return the car. Return the rent. Return the jewelry. If you cannot return, then refuse to use. This is how chains are broken." Flora closed. She saw the soft. The door opened and Chief entered in a dark blue suit. He came straight to the table. He did not. He sat down and looked at Flora with eyes that had no smile inside them. "So this is how you repay me," he said. "This is how I save my life," Flora answered. He looked at the envelope on the table. "Return." "Yes." He picked it up, opened it, and saw the necklace. He closed it again and placed it down. People around them were talking and laughing. A baby cried in a corner. A waiter walked past with a tray. The world did not know a war was happening between two faces at a small table. Chief leaned forward. "Come to Ipe for 1 hour. I will sign your shop back to you. I will pay for everything you lost. Just 1 hour." "No." He smiled. The smile looked tired. "Do you think you are the first to try this? You are not. You will come. You will come because comfort will call you and fear will push you. You are not strong enough." Who warned her about the thread in her shoes. She remembered Amara's hand squeezing hers in the dark. She lifted her chin. "I am strong enough." He sat back and looked at her for a long time. He picked up the envelope and slid it into his inner pocket. He stood. He spoke a single sentence in a low voice. "The moon does not wait." Then he turned and walked out. Amara let out a breath she had been holding. My chest was tight. "You did well." Flora did not feel victorious. She felt steady. They left the cafe and stepped into the bright afternoon. A hawker passed by with cold drinks. A bus blared a horn. Life moved as if nothing big had happened. Big had happened. A door had closed. That night Flora slept and dreamed of a small lamp in a large room. The lamp did not look like much, but it burned and burned without going out. When she woke up, she felt a soft warmth in her chest. She got up and made tea. She opened the window. The air smelled clean after a light rain. Later that day, Officer BC came to Amara's apartment. She wore plain clothes and a serious face. She listened to the story without interrupting. She wrote dates and places in a small notebook. When they finished, the officer said, "Some men fear cameras. We will bring cameras," the officer said. "Some men fear cameras. We will bring cameras," Quiet ones, they planned. They did not speak too loud. Quiet ones, they planned. They did not speak too loudly. They did not write everything down. They kept it small and clean. The last week of the 5th month arrived. Flora felt the days like footsteps. Week of the 5th month arrived. Flora felt the days like footsteps behind her. She did not run. She walked with her and sat at the back. She lit a small candle after service. She called her aunt and laughed at old stories. She ate rice and beans. She slept without the necklace. 3 days before. New moon, Chief called again. He spoke like a man reading a line from a play. Lunch at Ipi, daylight. Driver will pick you by 11. You will be home by 3. Flora said yes. Then she sent the time and place to Officer BC, to Mama Ruth, to Amara, and to David. She did not send it to Kunli because she did not want to put him in more danger. She put her phone on the table and sat still. Her heart beat hard, and then settled, and then settled. The morning of the trip came, at 10:30. In another place, not far, a third person sat on a low stool pretending to sell roasted corn. It was not corn in his basin, it was another camera. The black SUV arrived and stopped. The new driver got out and opened the back door. It was empty. He spoke into a phone, listened. He nodded. He closed the door. He drove away. The man by the river checked his watch again. He made a small call. His voice was short. Where is she? Back in Surulere, Flora sat with Amara and Mama Ruth at the table. The small lamp in her dream seemed to live inside her now. She felt fear, but it did not rule her. She felt a deep, steady thing under it. She waited. The man by the river paced. The sun climbed. The water turned bright. The gardener stood near the jetty and pretended to pull a weed. The cook waited in the kitchen. Nobody ate. Nobody laughed. The day felt like it was holding its breath. Officer Bissy touched her earpiece and spoke one quiet line to David. Stay ready. The hours moved. The SUV came back with a different man in the back seat. He wore a cap and dark glasses. The car rolled slowly through the gate. The man in the white shirt looked near, and the 6th month opened its mouth like a dark cave by the water. Flora stood on the other side with a lamp in her hand and people beside her who would not let her walk alone. The 6th month began like a quiet storm. The sky above Lagos was clear, but in Flora's heart the air was heavy. She knew this was the month people whispered about. The month when Chief's young lovers either disappeared or their lives suddenly ended. The month of mystery, of darkness, of accidents that were not accidents. She woke every morning with her heart beating fast. Some days she tried to laugh with Amara, cooking breakfast or watching television, but the laughter never stayed long. It was like a bird that came and flew away too quickly. Chief Richard kept calling. Sometimes his voice was sweet, sometimes it was sharp, but always there was one message hiding inside his words. Come to me, come to Ipe, come to the water. Flora did not go. She told him she was sick. She told him she was busy. She told him she was traveling. She even lied and said her aunt was in the hospital. But she knew she could not keep lying forever. Amara reminded her of Mama Ruth's words. Courage breaks the chain. Light breaks the darkness. Flora tried to be strong. She washed her arm every morning. She prayed. She stopped wearing the jewelry he gave her. She refused his money. But the fear was still there, waiting, whispering in her ear. One night she had another dream. She was standing in a long corridor with red walls. At the end of the corridor there was a door. Behind the door, she could hear water rushing like a river. Chief's voice called her name softly. Flora, Flora, come. When she opened the door, she saw him standing by the river smiling. In his hands he held a white cloth. He spread it out on the ground like a mat. But when she looked closer, the cloth was not cloth at all. It was skin, human skin. She screamed and woke up. Her whole body was wet with sweat. The next morning, she decided she could not keep quiet anymore. She told Officer Bissy about the dream. The officer listened carefully and wrote it down in her notebook. Then she said something that made Flora's stomach twist. "He's planning something big for this new moon. It is not just you. We believe he has been doing this for many years. If we can catch him this time, we can stop him forever. But Flora, we need your help." Flora felt her throat tighten. "My help? How?" "We need you to lead him on. Agree to see him one more time, but not in his house, not near the river, in public, somewhere we can watch, somewhere with cameras. We will be there. We will protect you." Flora shook her head quickly. "No, I can't. What if he touches me? What if something happens?" Amara put her hand on Flora's. "You are not alone. You will not be alone again." Flora sat in silence for a long time. Then she nodded slowly. "All right, one more time." The plan was set. Flora would agree to see Chief Richard for dinner in a popular hotel in Victoria Island. The restaurant was always full of rich people, businessmen, celebrities, and politicians. There were cameras everywhere, guards at the doors, and waiters moving around. Obisi and her team would be there too, watching from different tables. The day of the meeting came. Flora dressed simply in a plain black gown with no jewelry. She tied her hair in a bun and carried only her phone and a little money. Amara walked her to the taxi and hugged her tightly. "Please be careful. Remember everything. Do not drink anything. Do not eat anything. Do not follow him to any other place." "I will remember," Flora said. When she entered the hotel, her legs felt heavy. She almost turned back. But then she saw Officer Bissy sitting near the bar, pretending to look at her phone. Another officer sat by the window. David sat at the far corner, reading a newspaper. Mama Ruth was not there, but Flora could feel her prayers like a warm cloth around her shoulders. Chief Richard was already waiting. He wore a cream-colored agbada and gold wristwatch. He smiled when he saw her. "My beautiful queen." A smile, Flora's blood ran cold. Sacrifice. "What do I do, Kunli?" "Leave Lagos if you can. Travel far. Do not wait for the new moon." Flora thought about it. She wanted. "If she too brave," she whispered. "I know. But bravery is not about not being scared. It is about doing what is right even when you are scared." Moon, Flora had another dream. She was standing on the shore of a dark river. Behind her stood a crowd of girls, all dressed in white. Their faces were pale, their eyes empty. She recognized some of them, Cynthia and others she had seen in pictures. They were silent. Chief Richard stood on the other side of the river, holding a bowl of blood. He lifted it high and shouted, "The river never forgets," began to walk slowly into the water. Flora screamed and ran forward, shouting, "No, no!" But her voice echoed without stopping. She woke up gasping for breath. The 6th month was not yet over. The new moon was away, and Flora knew the real battle was just begun. Arrived. The sky above Lagos was empty, black, and wide. No stars, no moon, forever. The city was noisy as always, cars honking and generators humming, but inside Flora's chest, everything was quiet, too quiet. She sat in Amara's small sitting room with the curtains closed. Her hands were shaking. Her eyes kept moving to the clock on the wall. Each tick-tock felt like a drumbeat at want to face. Suddenly another voice came faintly through Kunli's phone, Chief Richard's voice.